Hey, you guys, we are so glad you could tune in with us tonight. I'm Pastor Daniel, this is Pastor Dave, and obviously, we're not Pastor Lambert.
No,
No, not at all.
not even close.
I don't think we could pull it off if we tried. Although we are, I think, rather good looking, so we've got a shot
That's
at it.
true.
Obviously, he couldn't be here tonight. He had a long day today. As many of you know, Belinda is preparing for knee surgery, and so they had to go meet with the doctors for that and actually go through a seminar on everything that's going to come along with having knee surgery and the recovery process. And it was really an all-day thing. And we typically record these during the day, so it just wasn't going to work out for him to be here tonight. But Dave and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to share our hearts with you and pray with you. We've got a list here of a lot of people in our church family that are in need of prayer. So we want to go over that together, but also to take a moment and to share with you about something that's going on here on the property. Right here, really, in the back part of the property. If you don't have kids, you might be missing one of the best kept secrets here at Harvest. So we want to let the secret out of the bag tonight and let you guys know what's going on. So we're going to do that too and let Dave do a lot of that talking because he's right in the heart of that ministry. But before we get to that, let's go through our prayer request for tonight. I hope that you guys are daily and going into your prayer closet and lifting up each other. For the obvious things, this season that we continue to go through of this COVID, this quarantine, this restlessness of not knowing what's going on. I know that's at the top of all of our prayer requests, and we just ask that you would continue to keep that in your prayers. Keep our church in your prayers, our leadership for wisdom as we make really big-time decisions moving forward. We want to be as safe as possible and as wise as possible, but we desperately want to continue to connect and to reconnect with many of you who haven't been able to come here on the property. So put that on the top of your list. And then I want to share with you just some updates on some things. For the past few weeks, we've had quite a few people who have had surgeries and are recovering from those surgeries. One of those is Ann Hogan. Many of you know Ann and the health issues that she's been going through and major surgery that she had a couple weeks ago, and she is recovering. She's at the rehab center there and going through that long process of recovery. So pray for her and Robert and Joey as well, as they've just kind of had to sit back and watch from a distance. I know it's been heavy on their heart. And when Ann does get to go home, it's going to be a major adjustment for them. So
She is such a sweet lady.
she is, isn't she? I mean, to be married to Robert and have Joey
I
in the
know.
house. Goodness gracious.
She's the same.
But we love you, Ann, and we're praying for you, praying for all you guys. Leonard Tizer, who had back surgery, really a major surgery and a difficult one. And there were some things that came through with that. The surgery was successful, but it was a hard surgery. And he is going to have a hard road of recovery, but really thankful that he was able to go through that and to fix some things. It's going to help him down the road big time. Jean Long, who has been on our list for a long time, her and Jerry, faithful members of this church, longtime members of this church. And Jean has battled cancer and has had some other surgeries here in the past couple weeks, and she's home. She was able to go home yesterday.
Praise
I
the
saw
Lord.
a picture of them wheeling her out, man, and I know that Jerry is ecstatic to have her back home and to be able to take care of her. So we praise the Lord for that. And Andrea Loy. Andrea Loy's father passed away on Monday night, I believe. We were over there yesterday and talking to the family and praying with them. And you're never ready to lose a parent. I don't care how old they are or what path they've been down and things like that. So just lift Andrea up in your prayers. I know that she would greatly appreciate it. And of course, Scott and the rest of the family, they're just going through this difficult process. This season, I think, is harder than ever before to go through the mourning process.
Absolutely.
We tend to, in those situations, want to lean in and to console and rally around our people, and it's just impossible to do right now. So, but we can pray. So lift her up, lift her family up in your prayers, and I promise you, she'll feel the effects of that. And I know she'd greatly appreciate it. And then Eddie Underwood. Eddie Underwood had surgery this past week, and he had diverticulitis, and you know a little bit about
I
diverticulitis.
know.
He had that, and they went ahead and decided to have the surgery. And thank the Lord, because when they went in, they found out there was a lot more infection than they anticipated, and they were able to take care of all of that. So he's in that recovery process now. I know he's been in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You know he's been in a lot of
I
pain.
feel for him. Anybody that's ever had diverticulitis, it's extremely painful. And he had a bad case.
He did. He did. You didn't have to have surgery,
I didn't.
but he did. So
I
that
didn't.
lets you know.
But I'm
how
a
much-
baby too.
That's true.
I'm a baby. I felt like I needed surgery. Or
Yeah, I
something.
bet. Well, pray for Eddie. I know
That's
he'd
right.
appreciate it. And, just there's so many more. There's many more in our church family who have had some medical issues, who've been in and out of the hospital. And again, that's hard enough when life is normal.
Mhm.
But now when you have to go in and you can't take loved ones with you, or you have to watch your loved one go in and you can't sit by their side. I was talking to Jennifer Matherly last night. Her mom is going through a difficult road right now.
Mhm.
And even today, her mom was meeting with a doctor, but Jennifer couldn't be in on that consultation. And so she was super nervous about that. So lift our families up in your prayer. And as you go to your places of prayer, just call out these names, and if you would like a more detailed list, if you want names specifically, email us. You can email me, Daniel at hbcburlington.com, or Dave at hbcburlington.com, and we'll get those to you. And that way you can take them to your prayer closet and you can lift those names up. But even if you don't know the names, just lift our church up. God knows. And the names that you don't know and that you can't recall, certainly God knows about it. You go on behalf of your brothers and sisters and just ask God to be in those situations and to take care of each and every one of them. So let's go to the Lord in prayer tonight, and then we're going to jump into what I've been looking forward to all day. I think this is going to be a great time, and I think that you guys are going to be excited about what we have to share with you.
Let's also remember as we go to prayer, so many not a physical need, but financial and emotional need. I mean, we've got so many folks in our church family that have important decisions right on the horizon here, as a lot of the government stimulus has just ended. So many couples having big decisions to make in the next few days, and just a lot of financial needs and burdens. And God promised a peace that would pass all understanding.
That's right.
And when we're on the mountaintop, we're really not thinking about peace. We're thinking about blessing and how good God is and how God's blessing. And God's with us in the valley, just like He's with us on the mountaintop. But when you're in the valley, you need peace.
That's right.
And we've had numbers of people that have called, that we've counseled with, that we've spent time with, that are just they're wrestling and restless right now, and they need the peace of God. And I'm sure there's many that we're unaware of that directly or indirectly are engaged in our church family, that the financial need to them is just as real and impactful as any physical need could be.
That's right.
And then spiritually as well, during this time where it's very difficult to come to church, to engage, as you were saying, to rally together with other believers, that this would be a time of spiritual renewal and not a time where we're drifting away spiritually.
Yeah, it's interesting. Joni and I, during this whole quarantine process, I don't know about you guys if you watch Netflix or shows. A lot of people have been binge watching shows. And we found this show called Alone. And it's a survival show. So they take 10 people and they spread them out in like this really tough land. And really it's living off the land, and last one standing that doesn't tap out wins. And there's so many of our people in our church family that feel like they're living that out, like they're alone, that they're stranded, whether it's at their home, whether it's not being able to come here to church and physically connect with people and see people. And so it's hard, man. It's hard to do life alone. It's why our mission statement here at Harvest is together, connecting people to Christ. Doing it together, but also connecting with other people. So Yeah, let's absolutely do that. Let's make that a focus to lift up those that are struggling, to lift up those, whether it's financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, whatever those needs are, that God will go where we can't go and He'll do what we can't do. And one day we're going to be back, man, and it's going to be sweet. I think we're going to have some victory stories to share
Amen.
of what God did. But let's go ahead and pray, and we'll jump into it. Father God, Lord, we are so thankful that you, in spite of all the chaos and darkness and everything that's going on in the world today, you continue to shine. And Lord, you have given us opportunities where many people don't have to be able to connect with our people. Even tonight, being able to come on here and through the means of Facebook and YouTube, being able to share our hearts, to brag on you and what you're doing through our church, but also to lift our brothers and sisters up, God, together. And to do that as a family. We may not be here physically, God, but we are united throughout this community, and we are gathering around you tonight. Lord, we lift up these names to you that were on our list tonight. For Ann, and for Leonard, and for Eddie, and Andrea Loy, God, and so many more that we didn't even mention on our list, but that are struggling, God. They need a physical touch. Whether they're in the hospital or coming out of the hospital, or they're going into surgery or coming out of surgery, God, they need your touch. And we just pray that you would do that, Lord. You know every situation. You know every need. You know every doctor, every nurse that's going to be involved or has been involved in these situations, God. And we just lift our brothers and sisters up to you and ask that you would touch them. God, for Andrea, who's lost her father, God, Lord, an emotional touch, God, that she needs so bad. I pray that you would just surround her, God, with family that can love on her and lift her up, God, that you would give her peace to understand that you're in control, and God, that she is not alone going through this season, Lord. And God, for so many others, like Dave said, God, for those who have been disconnected from the church, for those who are struggling financially, for those who the stress of their job or their kids going back to school, God, so many more situations and things that are popping up. God, I pray that your peace would just reach out through our people. Holy Spirit, I pray that you would just touch every person, God, especially those that are tuning in here tonight, God, and that you would just comfort them, God, that you would give them peace, you would give them wisdom. God, that when Satan lies and tells them that they're alone and things are out of control, and Lord, that you would just quietly remind them that you are there with them. God, for our time tonight, as we rejoice over what you're doing in our children's ministry, God, in a season where so many ministries have been shut down through our community, you have been faithful to provide us with opportunities, with people, and with kids that we can just pour into. And we're thankful for that. We're thankful for the incredible responsibility, but the privilege of being able to share you and connect our young people with you, God. So we just brag on you tonight. We give you the praise. We want you to get all the glory for it, God, because it's only through you and by you that any of this happens. So, Lord, we give this next few moments to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So, when we found out that we were going to be able to have this opportunity, it's like, what's the best thing we can do? Like, what would our people really benefit from right now? And we kind of unanimously, and by unanimously, I mean me and you, we came to the conclusion.
It seems like a good majority.
It is. I mean, we took the vote in the room, and there were
2-0.
There were no nays. So we thought, man, this is the perfect time to share about our kids ministry. I think there's a lot of people that think our kids ministry shut down, that there's nothing going on, and that couldn't be further from the truth, right, man. So let's just start. First of all, if you've never met Dave, and I never want to make the mistake of thinking everybody knows us, right? Because in a church our size, and especially if you're new to our church, maybe you've just started tuning in through this process, maybe you haven't had the opportunity to meet Dave. But Pastor Dave here was my youth pastor at Harvest growing up a few years ago. We won't say how many, but a few years ago. And he is here now, and for this season, he is really helping our children's ministry find that groove of what God can continue to do through that ministry. And you may not see him. So if you are coming on Sundays, or if you're just tuning in on Sundays, you've probably never seen Dave, especially if you don't have kids in the children's ministry. That's because every Sunday he's over here in this room we're in right now. This is the Zoom room. He's in this room preparing and getting ready and facilitating an incredible, how do you say it? The funnest?
The fastest, funnest hour of the week.
The fastest, funnest hour of the week.
That's our goal and our passion for these kids.
So for a second, pretend that you're talking to somebody brand new to the church and just share a little bit of your heart of
I
children's
probably am
ministry.
talking to somebody
I hope
that's
so.
brand new.
I hope so.
You know, I think my passion for kids began with my own experience. I grew up in an unchurched home, so we didn't have that church experience. I grew up in Lynchburg, Virginia. They had just, Jerry Falwell, Dr. Falwell, had just started a university there, and they started a bus route in my neighborhood. And if you rode the bus to church, you got McDonald's hamburgers. Jerry Falwell had led the owner of McDonald's to Christ.
Of course.
And the owner of McDonald's wanted other people to come to Christ. So
Wow.
he didn't know what to do. He said, well, I'll give hamburgers to kids that'll ride the bus. And for a long time, I wasn't in love with Jesus, but I was in love with McDonald's hamburgers. And honestly, that was my exposure to the gospel. So, you know, Thomas Road had a philosophy of do whatever it takes inside of the bounds of what God will allow to see men and women, boys and girls, come to faith in Jesus Christ. And that's sort of our passion. We want kids to have a great time. If you were looking around in this room, you would see for the summer we are decorated like a surf club. And all of our games, Surf's Up. All of our games focus on that theme, and we are surfing through the Beatitudes, Jesus' first sermon. And we want our boys and girls grounded in the faith. We want them to know the truth because they're growing up in a world where truth is put down, but we want to present truth in a way that is so dynamic and so fun. All of our games reinforce the truth, but the kids will have the fastest, funnest hour of the week. And we want every child that comes in here to feel absolutely loved. I remember I had a professor when I was in Preacher Boy school, and he would write every day on the chalkboard. Back then we had chalkboards. Mm-hmm. Now we have whiteboards and a lot of technology. But he
flannel graph. He probably had flannel graph.
Well, we had flannel. This was after flannel graph. These were the chalkboard years. And he would write on the chalkboard every day, love your people. And then he would turn around and he would give us all kinds of cool and great things to do as pastors to minister effectively to people. But he would point at that chalkboard and he would say, there's nothing that I'm ever going to share with you that's more important than that. And over the years, I've learned how true that is. You know, when you talk about church ministry, youth ministry, children's ministry, somebody's always going to have a better facility than you have. Someone's going to have more experience. They're going to have more resources. They may be a better speaker than what you are, but no one can love your people more than you. And when boys and girls come in this room, I don't care who it is, every single boy and girl, we want to make a physical, spiritual, and emotional touch with them. The physical's kind of hard right now. We used to high five all the kids when they come in. We're doing some elbows, you know. We're trying. But we don't have any favorites in here. We like to say all of our kids are our favorites. We love every single one of them. And not only the kids, but our philosophy of ministry is children's ministry is family ministry. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, Daniel, we got the greatest moms and dads in the world. They have been so faithful. So many moms and dads, if they're not comfortable bringing their kids, they went out of the way to communicate with me. We're coming back, just not now. And we try to do things to facilitate and help moms and dads as the primary nurturer of their kids. And we just have a party.
Yeah. I
in
come
here.
in. I try to come in after the music and stuff, getting numbers, finding out who's on the property. And every week when I come in here, I'm jealous. I really am. I mean, the kids are having a great time. There's smiles on every face. There's usually music going on or a game or something like
You'll
that.
see
It's really cool.
the kids are always engaged. We're not here. We're trying to teach boys and girls when they're young what the church is all about. And church is about engagement.
That's
You know,
right.
our motto as a church is be the bridge.
Yep.
And we're not stationary. They're not sitting in their chair as spectators. We believe that discipleship is a way of life. It's not a program. So we're trying to engage all the boys and girls in here. They're moving continually. And we have ministry teams. The boys and girls lead in praise and worship. They're the ones that do the sound. We couldn't operate without them.
Yeah.
They run the soundboard. They do the lighting. We have boys and girls right behind me that do puppets every week. They do drama team. They open in prayer. They close in prayer. We've taught them the basic functions of church, and they're learning how to do this. And I'm real excited. This Sunday, Mason Hall, a lot of y'all know Mason. He's 5 years old, and he's a little spark plug. Mason is preaching his first sermon Sunday. Now, look, I don't know if Mason will ever be a preacher or not, but he's 5 years old.
It's going to be Sunday.
He's already a proclaimer.
That's right.
Of truth, and he's learning things right now that'll go with him. And I got to tell you, last Sunday, I was announcing to the kids that Mason's going to be preaching his first sermon in here, and we're going to tape that. And I met with him this afternoon. And man, he's so fired up. And his dad came in, Brad came in about the last 15 minutes of our meeting and just listened. And we were having a little revival. Me and a 5-year-old and dad. But out of the mouth of babes comes great truth. I'm so excited about Mason, and he's excited. He's not fearful because we engage the kids all the time.
Right.
They're not fearful. And when I was announcing last Sunday, I had a little boy named Carter, 6 years old, come up to me afterwards, and he said, "Pastor Dave, I'm 6 years old." Like, he was very impressed that he was a year older than Mason. And he said, "I want you to teach me how to preach too."
Man.
So, we're raising up boys and girls that want to do ministry. And I like to say we're putting pressure on our youth pastor.
Yeah.
We're trying to put a lot of pressure on Stephen so that when our 5th graders graduate up to middle school, they're like, "Well, what ministry teams do you have? What type of discipleship and mentoring programs do you have?" But we want to raise boys and girls up that know more than Bible stories. They know truth. From our All In show, we're really trying to teach these boys and girls doctrine where they can defend their faith, know what they believe. And you think, well, that's over their head. Well, when you got 5-year-olds preaching, it's not over their head. And we do it in a fun and engaging way. And let me make one more comment here. A few weeks ago, we were teaching our kids the story of Gideon. And I noticed in that story that God referred to Gideon as a mighty warrior. And when God told Gideon, "You're a mighty warrior," Gideon was hiding down in a hole. He was anything but mighty. He was anything but a warrior. But God did not see Gideon where he was. God saw Gideon for what he could be, what God created him to be.
That's strong.
And our workers in children's ministry, it's like, don't evaluate these boys and girls as a kindergartner, a first grader, a third grader, or a 5th grader. See them the way that God sees them. See them for their full potential and all that they can be in God's kingdom. So every Sunday, and we've got a good group in here. We have numbers of kids that have come back. We've grown every single week. And I see the future of the church. The Church of Jesus Christ in America, we may need a second great awakening.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the boys and girls that will become the moms and dads, the men and women that have truth hidden away in their heart, and they're not ashamed of Jesus Christ, but we're doing it in an environment
Well, and
that's super fun.
that's what I wanted to pause for a moment and talk about, because, you know, it's something to say you've got a 5-year-old who was motivated enough, inspired enough to, in the moment, want to get up and preach. I mean, he wanted to be able to preach a sermon. And that doesn't happen by just coming in a room, slapping on a video, watching your clock, and moving them on out. It's not babysitting, right? It's so intentional. There's so much effort and timing and prayer that goes into every week into making that happen. And so I love that our kids are being inspired. I love that the ones that decide to step out, that the other kids are watching. One, I don't know if you mentioned it when you were just talking, but the way that Carter heard about Mason preaching was you had Mason come up and you had the group pray for Mason because he's going to preach next week. Think about that for a second. You've got elementary school kids stepping up to preach, and it's not just, hey, we want to spotlight you and put you up front. It's like we're all in this together.
That's right.
It's not just Mason coming up here and preaching. You guys can do your part. So they're praying over him, and then Carter's sitting back and going, I can do that. I want to do that. And let me tell you something. I think that's genuinely how every call to ministry ever happened, right? I don't know if Mason's being called to ministry or Carter is even being called to ministry. But I know that there was a time in my life when I was inspired by
full-time ministry.
Full-time
They're called
ministry.
to ministry.
Right. Full-time
They're going to
ministry.
be incredible Sunday school teachers, workers.
They're going to be
in the
incredible
church,
young men
volunteers.
and women that are leading the charge of this next generation coming through. But even in a call to full-time ministry, it began with watching others and thinking to yourself, I could do that. And then, of course, God calling you to do it. But to put our kids in a position where they can go, I can do that. That's huge.
It's
because the world tells them everything else, right? They step out off of this campus, schools, whatever it is, they're saying, no, you can't, no, you can't. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not rich enough. You don't live in a nice enough house. You don't know enough Bible verse. You don't this and this. You can't do it. But here, we not only tell them they can do it, we show them they can do it. Right. We do it with them, and we give them an opportunity to do it. So that's really awesome. So for the new person coming, when does this take place? Because I know it's Sunday mornings, but what time does this happen?
Right now, in our current COVID situation, we meet every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
And where at on the property?
In the Zoom room. It's toward the back of the property, in front of the gym, but behind the sanctuary.
And really the easiest way to find, if you come up the Breezeway, we've got greeters and people who will help you find it. But we have a check-in station for our children's ministry. And right now, of course, with the current situation we're all living in, we're not letting anybody in the kids' building except for one entrance. We're checking temperatures, right, and we're kind of going through the whole thing. So when you come through those doors, there's going to be somebody standing right there, probably Dee, who works. We're going to talk about her role in just a minute and what she's doing, or my wife that works at the check-in. There's going to be somebody there to make sure you get to the right place, and that you're very comfortable before you leave, that your kid is safe and in a great environment and it's going to be taken care of.
And if you're someone that's considering church and you have a child, if your child comes one time, I promise you they'll want to come back. You know, every single child that comes, they're going to have a blast. They're going to learn truth, but they're going to have a blast. And we're going to get them engaged in a group. Because I grew up unchurched, I remember how it felt to be that guest and the awkwardness that a person like that can feel. And we go the extra mile, not just myself, but training our volunteer leaders to be completely engaging. And we do it in really creative, fun ways where guests are quickly incorporated into the family, and then we're just all together.
That's right.
As one group.
So before we move on to kind of the next part, I want to get into two things. One, if you're new, this Sunday, try us out. Come. We start at 9 o'clock. I'd come a little early, just especially if you're new, finding your way.
Come here, Mason.
And for your young person to get settled in, I would come a little early. We'll get you settled in. Come here, Mason. Cheer him on, and it'll be great. But if you are going to Harvest right now, wouldn't this be a fantastic ministry to be involved in? There's a lot of you out there who have been looking for your spot to be able to be part of something. And our children's ministry is a great place to do it. Let me encourage you, if you are interested, even just to check it out, if you say, can I come sit in the back of the room one Sunday and watch it? We're going to make it happen, because once you see it, once you feel the excitement, I think you're going to really want to be a part of it. If you would prayerfully consider being part of our children's ministry, email me, daniel@hbcburlington.com. I'm going to get you connected with Dave, with Dee, with the right person. We're going to make sure that you get plugged in right away, and we can do that immediately. If you even think about it tonight, shoot me an email. We'll get you plugged in. So the Zoom room is kindergarten through 5th grade, right? K-5 through 5th grade on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. What if they have someone who's in nursery or preschool? What do we have for them right now, and what are we having in the future for them? Because I already know a couple secrets.
Well, let me just jump into where things are going. We are very shortly getting ready to include our preschool in Harvest Kids, and I'm excited about that.
It's gonna be awesome.
Because our preschool has kind of been sort of an old school format, and we want if you're a parent, you've got a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, we want them to have this Zoom room experience as well. They're too young to include here with the other kids.
Right.
But we're getting ready. When we go to multiple hours, we want every child to have a large group experience and a small group experience. And I think our young kids and their parents are absolutely going to love this. So we're getting ready to incorporate preschool into Harvest Kids. We've already picked out where we're headed. It's super, super cute and colorful. It's interesting. The kids are going to love it. And our theme for the fall with the preschool is going to be Finding Jesus Under the Sea. And it's really cool. We're going to be talking about the attributes of God, but the way that we're doing it is we're taking creatures that God created that are under the sea, and every week we'll talk about a different creature that God created and one attribute that has. Like one week we'll talk about sharks, and I'm sure most of the moms and dads know this, but sharks never stop. They never stop. They move when they sleep. From the time they're born, they never ever stop. And the attribute we will talk about when we're talking about sharks never stopping is God's love and God's mercy.
Man, that's
God's
cool.
love and God's mercy never stops. We want these little 2, 3, and 4-year-old kids to know all about the shark. And the thing they're going to remember most about the shark is the shark never stops. And God's love and God's mercy for them never stops. They're going to grow up. They're going to make mistakes in life. They're not going to be perfect. Mom and dad aren't going to be perfect. We want the boys and girls, we want moms and dads to know God's mercy is unending, and it never fails, and it never stops. And every week we're going to give every single boy and girl a little toy of whatever the animal is.
It's like a Happy
So
Meal.
when it's Shark Week, you get
a toy, you get a
except
prize.
better. When it's Shark Week, they all get a little shark. And we'll have puppets for them with these different animals. Their rooms will be decorated. It's super, super colorful. I know the kids are going to love. I'm so excited about it. I almost want to be 3 years old.
I'm telling you, I was just thinking,
where I could be.
I want to go check that out, man.
Yep.
And that's going to be in the fall. Until then, every Sunday morning, we do have a program running right now for our nursery and preschool. And that's actually at both hours. The Zoom room is only 9 o'clock. Right now through this COVID season, but the 9 o'clock and the 10:30 hour, we have nursery and preschool. We're going to love on your kids. We're going to take good care of them. We've got some of the best volunteers at this church, and really, man, just a sweet spirit down that Ark Avenue hall.
They
And
are. Let me jump in and say one thing. You know, when we're looking at workers, and Daniel kind of talked about, if you're interested in a ministry talking to us, we're not we're not always looking
right,
for workers in our ministry, and when we are, as we develop this preschool, we're opening it up for a few additional people on our team, but we're looking for men and women or college students that have a passion for kids and they have a passion for Christ. We're not looking for anybody that's just plugging a hole.
yeah,
We don't do that. We're not looking to plug a hole. We're not looking for anybody that wants to be a professional babysitter on Sunday. We want men and women, college students, that long after a child has forgotten your name, or maybe even what you look like, the truths you shared will be stuck in their minds for years to come. You know, I look in the face of these boys and girls and I see the face of God.
Mm.
The Word of God says, unless you become like a child, you're not going to inherit the kingdom of God. 90% of those that come to Christ do so when they're kids. I mean, we ought to be pouring our resources, our
Yeah.
time, and our effort into children's ministry. That's when boys and
And
girls.
we are.
I know
We are.
and I'm grateful.
That's exactly what
and
we're doing.
and I'm grateful, for it. Out here on our property today, we've got 70 all summer, every week, all summer long. We've got 60, 70, 80 kids out
Yeah.
here in our summer camp. We're looking to expand that, maybe even double it
Yeah, that's an interesting
next
point.
year.
Two things. One, you said these kids are going to remember these people that poured into their lives. I remember here at Harvest when I was in elementary school and Renee Brown being my Sunday school teacher. And can I tell you something? She's been so faithful. She was my kid's Sunday school teacher as well coming through here, which is amazing, for her to be faithful for so long. And you don't forget people that loved on you, that cared about you, that believed in you, and that convinced you that you could do it. Now, you just mentioned our day camp through the summer. Our ministry is not just on Sunday morning from 9 to
That's
10
right.
o'clock, right? It really branches out every day of the week. And another great secret that we have here at Harvest is our day camp. We've done this for a few summers now, and it's grown every summer. And there was a big question was with this season that we're in, are we going to have the same opportunity to do that this year? And let me tell you, well, I'm going to let you tell them. Tell them about our day camp, our summer camp, and what God's doing Monday through Friday on this property.
Yeah, well, I kind of alluded to it already, but first of all, you got 70 to 80 fresh faces every day, boys and girls just eager for fun, eager for truth to be poured into. It's a blessing to our moms and dads that are trying to work, because not only do they have a safe place to put their kids, but in an environment where they know their kids are going to have fun.
Yeah.
They're going to engage with other kids, and they're going to be taught the truth as well. And then we have a number of our Sharp Core high school kids and some of our college kids that are home for the summer. It's a great discipleship ministry for our student ministry. Instead of just out doing some other type of job because they were raised to serve, they're loving it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are loving pouring into these boys and girls. It's exciting for me as a pastor to see our teens knowing the names of all of these boys and girls. And it's kind of open enrollment every week. I don't know if we have any limitation on that or not, but it seems to be growing every week, so much so that we're already making plans next year to not have half-day camp, but to have all-day camp and to double the size of our camp. Because, as you said, our ministry goes well beyond this campus, and our motto is to be the bridge. We love our city. We love our community. And just like we had the food bank today,
Yeah.
and fed hundreds of people, our heart and passion is to feed materially, physically, but also spiritually and emotionally. And, to be able to expand our ministry and have kids come in, minister to moms and dads, minister to boys and girls, simultaneously discipling our teenagers. It's like it, it's all wrapped up into one.
It does, and it
It's
makes
great.
it so easy for our teenagers and college students to transfer that during the week into ministry on the weekend because they already know the kids and they come in and we can plug them in when we have Sunday school rolling, different things like that. It's just like a no-brainer to have these young people coming in and pouring into them, and it's really a cool thing. Miss D, who runs that, does a great job, and she's got an incredible staff.
She does, and we have a lot of folks that have started coming in on Sunday, actually, and because Dee is at our connection center on Sunday morning, families that had kids at camp, the first person outside of a greeter in the parking lot that they see is Dee. It's a familiar face, and she brings them down. And if I haven't met them yet, I've met many of the kids because they're here on
Right.
campus every day. Meet me, and I get to introduce them to other kids. But the cool thing is, these kids that come in a lot of times from their first week, they already know several of the kids because those kids are at camp, and it's made introductions go really, really well.
It's really neat. So, and all of that, I mean, man, look, our time's almost up, but we could literally continue to go on and talk. And that's through a season where we've got more limits than we've ever had. Can you imagine when we come out of this season that we're in and kind of the restrictions are taken off, the opportunities we're going to have? We are looking forward to a Wednesday night program for our kids that's completely different than our Sunday morning program. And not just our kids. You talked about family ministry. This past season, we had life groups for parents while their kids were over here on Wednesday nights. And we know we're going to get back to that. And we are looking forward to it. So if you thought that children's ministry at Harvest was shut down during this COVID season, man, you were wrong. And there's a lot of ways you can help support it. Above everything else, if you could just cover it in prayer.
Amen.
If you do nothing else, but just put our children's ministry, our volunteers, our workers, those sweet kids, put them on your prayer list and ask God to put a hedge of protection around this place and that He would bring up the next generation of Jerry Falwells, of Billy Grahams, of Larry Lamberts, of Dave Woods, of Daniel Webster's, that they would come through this ministry, and because they were loved, they found a place where they belong. They could discover what God was doing in their hearts and what He was calling them to. They could grow in their relationship to Him, that one day they would be able to reach out and use all those gifts to affect their community around them. So put it on your prayer list. If you want to volunteer in it, man, email us. Let us know. If you have kids and you want them to be in it, but you're a little timid, trust us, we are very aware of the concerns right now. We'd love to meet with you during the week and just walk you through it and tell you what we're doing. But those are all ways you can be part of one of the best ministries here at Harvest Baptist Church. I know tonight was a little different, and I know that you're missing our time with Pastor, and Lord willing, he's going to be back next week. But man, we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, just being able to share with you. When you see Dave on Sunday, or if you don't see Dave on Sunday, you know where he is, right? He's back in that Zoom room. So cover him in prayer. We look forward to connecting with you guys down the road, and we'll see you next week.